Chapter 11. The Hollow Paths. The door sealed behind them. Ace didn't see it move. He only heard the final whisper of metal folding into itself, as if the cavern outside had never existed. He spun, rifle raised, but where the breach had been, there was nothing. Only seamless wall, veined with that steady, pulsing glow. Mack swore under his breath. Lovely. Trapped in the tin can. Just what I wanted. Stone didn't even look back. He stood on the dais, shard clenched in one hand, visor reflecting the alien light. The pulse from the shard and the veins seemed to fall into sync, a rhythm that seeped through the chamber floor and into Ace's bones. The prisoners noticed it too. They pressed together in ragged clusters, eyes darting between stone and the walls. Fear thickened the air like smoke. Ace felt the whispers rise again, louder, clearer, yet still maddeningly without words. They pressed in on him, not like voices but like tides, pushing, dragging, pulling. His knees weakened. He forced himself to steady his rifle, focus on the here and now. "Stone," Ace rasped. "The door's gone." "I know," Stone said. His voice was low, calm, unbothered. "Forward. It's the only way." Mack gave a short, humorless laugh. "Forward," he says. Like there's a bloody gift shop at the end of all this, but he followed when Stone descended from the dais and walked to the far side of the chamber. The new corridor was taller, wider. Its walls curved like a throat swallowing them whole. Machinery jutted from either side, towering columns riddled with recesses and protrusions that looked almost like tools, almost like weapons, almost like organs. The prisoners avoided them, eyes fixed to the floor. One man muttered a prayer. Another whispered, "They're watching. They're looking at us." Ace glanced up despite himself. For a moment, he thought he saw eyes within the machinery, shapes that glistened like wet orbs following their passage. When he blinked, they were gone. Only metal, only alloy. Mack caught his look. "You saw it too, didn't you?" Ace didn't answer. The corridor bent and bent again, a twisting path that seemed to loop back on itself. The light veins pulsed irregularly here like a faulty heartbeat. Sometimes the walls glowed bright enough to cast their shadows sharp. Sometimes the light dimmed to almost nothing, forcing them to stumble forward by the shard's glow. The air grew colder the deeper they went. Ace's breath fogged in his helmet, misting the visor edges. The whispers drilled sharper into his skull, as though something pressed closer against his mind with every step. They reached another chamber, smaller than the first, but stranger. The floor was tiered into concentric circles, each one descending toward a pit at the center. The pit was filled with liquid metal, or something that looked like it. It rippled faintly, though there was no breeze, no motion to stir it. The light veins converged into it, pulsing through the surface like veins beneath skin. The prisoners refused to enter. They clustered at the threshold, shaking their heads, muttering. One dropped to his knees and clutched his stomach as though sick. Mack waved an arm. "Come on, it's just a puddle." His voice was too loud, bouncing around the chamber. He glanced at Ace, lower this time. "It is just a puddle, right?" Ace couldn't answer. The whispers had shifted tone. They weren't pushing now. They were waiting, like breath drawn and held. Stone walked down the tiers, boots clicking softly against alloy, and stopped at the pit's edge. The shard blazed so bright Ace had to shield his visor. Stone held it over the liquid. The surface rippled violently. Every prisoner cried out. A woman screamed. The man on his knees vomited bile onto the alloy floor. Ace staggered back. Mack swore, fumbling his rifle up. But Stone only said, calm as before, "It recognizes us." Ace's heart hammered. It recognizes him. The liquid stilled. The light dimmed back to its steady pulse. Stone turned, motioning them forward. "This way." Another corridor, narrower now. the walls pressed close, lined with what looked like ribs of metal arching overhead. The machinery hummed louder here, a droning throb that settled deep in the chest. Mack muttered, "Feels like walking down a throat." Ace wanted to snap at him to tell him to shut up, but the words stuck in his throat, because it did feel like that. Every step felt swallowed. The whispers surged again, rising to a roar. Ace stumbled, clutching his helmet, nearly dropping his rifle. He caught flashes, corridors branching like veins, shapes moving in the dark, faces not human and not meant to be. He gasped, struggling for air. Mack grabbed him. "Ace!" "Stay with me, damn it." Ace blinked, breath ragged. The vision faded, leaving him shaking. The whispers lingered, gnawing at the edges of thought. Stone hadn't slowed. He marched on, shard aloft. The prisoners trailed behind, broken, silent, their faces hollow. The corridor opened into another chamber. This one was vast, almost cathedral-like. Towers of machinery climbed into the shadows, strung with cables thick as tree trunks. The floor was patterned with grooves that glowed faintly, lines of light converging toward the center. There, rising from the floor, was a shape. Not machinery, not architecture. A mass. It stood twice the height of a man, featureless, hunched. Its surface shimmered like alloy and stone fused together. It did not move. But the grooves of light pulsed toward it, feeding it. The prisoners broke. One screamed, bolting back into the corridor. Another collapsed to the ground, sobbing. Mack raised his rifle. "Tell me that thing's dead." Ace stared, throat dry. "I don't think it's ever been alive." The whispers surged so loud he nearly dropped his weapon. They weren't words, but they pressed with undeniable force. "Look. No. Witness." The mass shifted, just slightly, a ripple across its surface like breath. The chamber fell silent. No one moved. Ace's heart pounded like gunfire. Stone raised the shard higher, voice steady, unshaken. "We keep going." The chamber's pulse deepened. The mass rippled again. And in the shadows above, something vast moved. Not fully revealed, not close, only the suggestion of size, of weight, of presence. A shift of darkness that had no source. The prisoners whimpered, too broken to scream. Mack whispered, "Bloody hell." Ace gripped his rifle, sweat cold on his palms, whispers roaring in his skull. He knew one thing with absolute certainty. They were no longer alone.
Now, that is the end for this one. Make sure you come back for more, and like and subscribe. See you soon.